morning, friends. Actually, it's afternoon. Good afternoon, friends. If you watched my video from last night, you know that the weather radio came on and said we were under a severe thunderstorm warning. Well, not too long after that, I don't know what time I made the video, but about 9:15 last night, the power went out. So, yeah, just as I was climbing into bed with a new book, the power went out. Actually, it flickered quite a bit. So that doesn't make me happy. I hope that the washer and dryer and TV and computer and everything that was plugged in is okay. My friend Sal keeps telling me I need to get a whole house surge protector, which I don't have. So hopefully nothing was damaged in that power surge. But then it went off for good. So yeah, it was hard to fall asleep last night because I had to keep the curtains open because I had to keep the windows open. And so it was very bright with all the lightning. And then lots of beeping from vehicles backing up, and I don't know what was going on out there. But anyway, apparently in Lawrence, the town that I live in on the outskirts of, it got hit really bad. So there's power lines down and trees down, and I'm not going anywhere. But we just have a small tree that was wrapped in vines that came down in the very far back. So it's not bothering anything, and I would just leave it there, but my dad will surely cut it up at some point. So since there's no power, there's lots of things I can't do. The internet was working for a while because I have data on my phone, but then that quit too. So, yeah, I didn't open the fridge till noon, but Google tells me things in a fridge are only good till about 4 hours. So probably some things need to be thrown away. But I did grab some things to make a salad. And then, because I had actually also had this idea and now I have time, I started a new knitting project. So I think it's quite complicated. It has a chart, and I'm not great with charts, so I might follow the written pattern. I've written out part of it so that I can cross it off when I do it. But it's called Camino Bubbles. And I saw a knit one when I was at a yarn shop south of here with my mom in the winter. Must have been before she left for Florida, so sometime last fall or winter. There's two versions. There's a large bubble version, which is this one, and then a small bubble version, which maybe I'll share a picture of if I can find one. I decided to make the small bubble version. So, like I said, it has a chart. And if the copier was working, maybe I would copy a whole bunch of pages so that I could have a separate chart for each repetition. But yeah, I might do the written version. So that's what I'm working on. Here's the yarn I have that I bought last winter. You might remember I went to the yarn shop and then I didn't have my glasses on and I needed help from other customers. But it's just some cheap Lion brand yarn. But it's pretty. So I started this morning and I'm about this far. So I have a long way to go, but I have lots of time. I don't usually knit in the summer, but I decided to do this because it's quite light and airy, and so why not? So that's how I'm spending my power outage day. I've checked in with a few friends to make sure they are okay, and although one person had a couple big trees come down, they didn't hit her house, so that's good. But everybody seems to be okay. So that's what really matters. Stay safe, everyone. And I'm really lucky because I have lots of motion activated lights in my house, and when they need charging, you just plug them into a USB. So I'll show you one. So this light is normally under here. There's a metal strip I just clip it to, and then I have light under there for my tea, but I don't use that very often. So I thought, oh, let me figure out a way to put it over here by my stove. And then I realized, well, yeah, it's magnetic. It just sticks up there. So now I have light. One of the best purchases I ever made on Amazon. I have a whole bunch of them. There's one over here, it goes on by itself. There's one under here that I have to turn on, but I hardly ever use that one. There's one in the spice cabinet that is motion activated. And there's ones other places around the house, so you can get your own on Amazon. I haven't opened the freezer or the deep freeze, but I know that there's popsicles melting in there, so once the power comes on, then, and I'll give it a couple hours, I'll see what the damage is. So yeah, I needed to defrost the freezer, so maybe this will be a motivation. But they say that a deep freeze, if it's full, which it's pretty full, should be okay for 24 to 48 hours. So I hope so, because there's a whole bunch of fish in there that I don't want to throw away. So, and other meat. So yeah, with the power off and the AC off, I'm remembering the homes I have lived in that have not had AC. When we used to come to our cottage here in Lawrence when I was a kid, we definitely didn't have AC. Or once I left for college, I think they got an air conditioner. But when I was a kid, we didn't have AC, and it was really hot. But at least during the day, we could spend the time in the lake. And the first Shalom house in Newton that I lived in with my friends after college, it definitely did not have AC. And it was over 100 degrees for days or weeks on end. And our rooms were on the second floor, and it was hot. And I know that some of us would spray water on ourselves and stick a fan on ourselves to go to sleep at night, just so we could be cool enough. So I am glad that I don't have to do that anymore. So the power needs to come back on, so the AC can come back on, because I am a spoiled baby. So we have power 37 hours later. I gave my fridge a deep clean. I threw out half of the things in there, and the ice cubes in the freezer were still ice cubes, so hopefully the freezers are fine. I did not open them until the power went on. So, well, that's not true. I opened the one above the fridge this morning to grab some milk, and then I realized the milk was still frozen. So, yeah. Everything's good. And I didn't even notice the power came on because I was sitting in here in the sunroom, and there weren't any lights on. I had unplugged the AC unit. So the fans came on and I didn't notice. And then my neighbor texted me to say she had power, and I realized, oh, I do too. So, yay!